Made it home with the car last night. We're putting it in storage, but I owe you guys a walk around before I throw this thing into hock and work on other projects. Check this thing out. So obviously starting with the good, this is a titled complete barn find 57. I think it was somebody's hot rod back in the day. It's all kinds of mud in here like usual. You can see the remainder of these fender flares. Super 1970s. It is a 150 coupe, which is relatively rare. If you look around, the Black Widow was a really kind of famously popular stripper model with a V8. Got the Tri-5 door squeak, but the whole interior minus this one door card is in here. So I need a window and door card here, but I've got the garnish molding. Everything else is in here. It's got a VIN plate, a little bit of rust around, but that'll clean up. And you know, Bluetooth rockers and floors, but all those panels exist. It's got this sick flaky gold steering wheel, bunch of shag carpet, so it kind of dates the car, and some old gauges that somebody added. So obviously they were hot rodding around. Got all the trim intact, bumpers are there, pretty rough, but I've got every piece. They can be spit shined or replaced, whatever I choose to do. Not even gonna open the trunk because the whole back lip of it's gone, and this quarter is really KO'd. You can see that alignment is not so great, but the door is all closed nice. This gap is fine, so we'll just have to kind of pull that back in when we fix the trunk. Try to align this a little bit better. Looks like it got hit, but this will all dial back. Just needs a few patch panels and complete 57 coupe. I'm pretty happy, honestly, for the price. These are getting hard to find. So we are gonna head to the storage building and try to get this thing unloaded with the rear axle totally locked up. You guys saw how that went getting it on, so wish us luck. It's first intro to your super secret storage facility that you bought like, what, a day ago?
I signed papers Friday night.
Pick up the car Saturday. Perfect. So the unloading technique, I guess, is I don't know, physics. We're either gonna pull the building down or pull the car off.
One way or the other, I guess.
They're both insured, it'll be fine. Today, we're gonna try and see if we can get this engine to turn over. It looks like it's the original 283. I ran the numbers on the front of the block. It is an early 283, but the valve cover bolts are not offset, so I'm not sure. You experts in the comments, let me know, is this in fact original, or because the valve cover bolts are straight up and down, is it maybe like a 61 to 66 283? I don't know. I'm not really an expert on these old cars, but we are gonna throw some penetrating oil in it, pull all the plugs, obviously, maybe sauce it with some ATF and whatever else, and see if we can get this thing to roll over. I'm not hopeful. It's been sitting in a barn for like, near as I can tell, 35, 40 years, sometime in the 80s at least. Title was reissued in 84. So yeah, judging from the Bud Light caps in the passenger area and the title, it's probably been sitting since like about a decade before I was even born. Let's see if we can get this thing to roll over. Camera died on us last time we were messing with this thing, but basically the belt snapped. It really does not want to turn over. I can't imagine why, with the carb totally locked up and all this mouse nest in here. So we're going to clean this off, maybe pull a valve cover, see how gross it is in there. I don't have a whole lot of faith. This is actually just put on with like hardware store washers and whatever 3/8 bolts they can find, as well as this lovely flathead screw that's holding on the valve cover. I cleaned off this boss here a little bit. The block looks like it says II27G. So that, I believe, decodes to be an original 283. However, the heads are not right since these valve cover bolts are in line with each other. And the trim tag, as you can kind of see there, does say 57-211 body style S. So if this was a legit Black Widow, it would have had a, I believe, a B preceding 1211, but this is an actual 1211 body, so it's not been hacked together from something else. And by all accounts, it is an original V8 car with the rad. It's got the original mounts down there, those pedestals. It's not like the later small blocks that actually have a mount on the side of the block. Everything looks to be 57 stuff, aside from the heads and the intake here, which are obviously somebody's idea of hot rodding. So, guess we'll start cleaning up and see what we can find in here.
Sounds good.
This thing's gross. So in theory, this won't be as rusty as the rest of the car, and it'll come right up. Oh, well, that's promising, other than the fact this appears to be like a screw from a cabinet handle. But that's, you know, that's something. Oh, don't lose that. That's original. We'll need that in the restoration. Oh, those are a little tighter. Too bad there's only 7 of them. Oh, there wasn't even a washer on this one. That's all right. Perfect. Would you mind? What sort of treasures do you think we're gonna find in here?
Acorns.
I can kind of see inside here. It actually looks like a little bit oily, at least in the one cylinder hole I'm looking at. Not cylinder hole, the oil fill. English is hard. There's a lot of stuff like this that just makes me worry a little bit. It's not the most masterfully assembled car, but somebody obviously cared about it enough to keep it on the road. Right. So, oh, see, that looks like an engine that would run. Nothing crazy, nothing bent, nothing loose. Okay. Interesting. Well, maybe what we need to do is come back with some more tools, soak the cylinders more, and see if we can get this thing to run in the car as is, or at least turn over.
Well, if you remember, the last time we were digging into this thing, there were spark plugs missing. So it had sat for how many years without plugs in it?
That doesn't mean we can't get the ridge past, or the pistons past the ridge of rust that's built up in there. But this looks like an engine that had oil in it when it was parked for whatever reason. Maybe a bad distributor. Yeah, it's pretty gross. That's oil. So, hasn't been underwater. Got one more trick up my sleeve to get this Drive 5 Chevy together. Now yesterday, I went and bought a Muncie, you see there. That is an M20 4-speed. And these brand new, I think they're like a Halabrand knockoff front runner wheel. They are Ford pattern, they're just skinnies, and I'm not building a gasser right now, so I'm trading these for a set of good post doors and a trunk lid, because mine is super roached. So great deal. I did not pay a whole lot for these. And that's going to get us a lot more sheet metal that I really desperately need on the build. All around, great trade for those cast wheels. I scored a whole bunch of replacement pieces. Passenger fender, still got a good horn on it, and it's not all stoved in like the other one I have. Driver fender's not quite so good. Got a deck lid under here. There's those two doors I traded those wheels for. That worked out super well. And the crown jewel, because we are not sure that engine's any good. This is the 4.8 liter LS engine out of our old Gambler rig, the Green Machine. It did legendary rev limiter burnouts and never broke. So I'm thinking, free engine. I have all the wiring and harnesses and everything. I'm thinking this with a 4-speed in this car would be super cool. And it's free, so maybe show off a little bit of cheap rewiring and tuning you can do to get a junkyard engine like this into a junk car like this. Engines will want to turn over. It is an early engine, so it actually does not have a center bolt on the crank, which kind of sucks. But we're thinking what we'll do is have spark plugs out of it. The heads at least look okay, so that's promising. We're going to dump what little diesel fuel we have left right down this carburetor, which is, as you recall, frozen solid. Oh yeah. Love it. Just a little back here. Share the love.
I think you missed a spot.
So that, in theory, run down at least on top of our valves wherever it leaks past. You know, we'll get into the cylinders. We'll try to get some PB blaster or something in here as well, but hopefully that'll leak down and free things up or make a bigger mess. Either way, we did something. And it did break off the belt, so it's been sitting in this exact spot with the crank not wanting to turn for a while. I think what we'll do is we'll come back with some penetrating oil and some more stuff to soak it in, and you'll see us attempt to actually crank this over on a future episode. So, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and see if we actually can't make something of this old 283 that's in here. Till next time.